She defied over 3,000 years of embedded culture and, according to Forbes, became one of the most successful women tech entrepreneurs in the world. But first, here's what you might have missed this week in Amazon and e-commerce news. New York Times penned an article entitled, "How E-commerce Sites Manipulate You into Buying Things You May Not Want." The premise? When you browse an e-commerce online store like ThredUp, along with many others, don't be surprised if a pop-up message says, "Lucy Pickleberry from Anaheim just saved $222 on her order." And yes, it's bogus. This particular Lucy Pickleberry does not exist. Fake messages about people who do not exist is becoming a bit common on e-commerce websites. What would you do on your own e-commerce online store? Would you use this tactic? I would love to know. Comment below. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said on Wednesday that online giant Amazon.com Inc., ready for it? Here's the quote, destroyed the retail industry across the United States. Steven, does the fact that over 58% of all sales on Amazon.com are the result of independent entrepreneurs have any impact on your statement? In fact, these are still retail sales. They've just moved from a brick and mortar building to online, and they are creating margin for people to do the things they love with the people they love. Would you like an Echo with your new house? Yes, you heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. Amazon is making a deal with Realogy Holdings Corporation, one of the largest full-service residential real estate services companies on the planet. Now, what does this mean practically? When you buy a house through one of Realogy's real estate agents, they buy you a slew of Amazon goods, and they also recommend other Amazon products you can buy to make your move-in an experience that is pleasant. And the name? Amazon Home Services. Could you ever believe this was going to happen? Also, in the news, if you missed it, e-commerce employers are doing something strange. Across the United States, they are really struggling with employee turnover. It's expensive to recruit, hire, onboard, and train a whole new staff only to have them leave for a different job within months of hiring them. So the solution? E-commerce companies that need a lot of help with fulfilling orders are actually buying robots instead of hiring people. And it's fixing the gap. Since robots have a pretty low turnover rate, the alternative is working quite well so far. Sorry, it makes me laugh because I see these robots. That is your weekly recap in Amazon and e-commerce news for today. And now, the story of the woman who defied her own father, broke tradition, and even had Amazon knocking on her door asking to buy her e-commerce company. Hanzade Dogan Boyner from Turkey grew up with a golden spoon in her mouth. Her father built one of Turkey's biggest conglomerates and media empires in Turkey today. And from an outside perspective, she had it made. And then she shocked the world, breaking 3 millennia of tradition that goes all the way back to 1200 BC. She had 3,000 reasons to not defy her father's wishes by leaving the family business, studying abroad, and building something on her own. Could Hanzade have known that by forsaking all traditional comforts and social expectations that she would bring in $786 million in annual revenues from Hepsiburada, her very own online e-commerce store, and that Amazon would try to purchase Hepsiburada from her before Amazon decided to break into the Turkey market themselves and become one of her competitors? According to Forbes, quote, like the Seattle-based e-commerce giant, Hepsiburada is an online seller of everything from laptops and jewelry to pet food and toys. Her company finished 2018 with $786 million in annual revenues. And so far in 2019, sales are pacing 40% ahead of last year, end quote. Hanzade even has a stake in Istanbul's Trump Towers and owns an online sports betting business, bringing Hanzade's net worth to $2 billion today at the age of only 46. Why did she redefine 3,219 years of tradition? What motivated Hanzade to disrupt Turkish culture along with her own family and dream of doing something different. Now, we in the United States, many of us in Europe consider it going against the norm when you set out to build a new business. But just for a moment, imagine going against 3,000 years of tradition in a country where this kind of behavior is beyond acceptable. Some of you know how hard it is when you have your own family telling you you can't do it. They think you're crazy. You're sacrificing security for some pipe dream, not to mention the own voices in your head screaming, "Who do you think you are?" An old adage says, your will is stronger than their doubt. I'd like to add to it, their doubt empowers your will. Say, "You can't," and watch me do it. One day I got up, I had a headache, my brain was scattered. I felt pulled in 10,000 different directions. I did not feel like coming into work. I got to the office and I told one of my staff members, "I'm just gonna be honest, I don't feel like being here today." Let me tell you something. My obstacles and challenges aren't a glimpse of a shadow compared to what Hanzade had to go through to set out and build something beyond imagination. This is why I started this YouTube channel. I was so sick of YouTube videos selling, and talking about how cool they are. I wanted people to feel it's okay to struggle, to be honest about it, and you should feel no shame at all. Now, a lot of bloggers and newscasters are spinning Hanzade's story into a man versus woman battle. But what about the battle we all face? The battle to keep going even when you don't see results yet. The battle to keep going even when you don't feel like getting out of bed. The battle to keep going even when people around you who love you are saying, you don't have what it takes. If you asked every single one of our female students who today are their own boss, making a ton of money, traveling the world with their loved ones, if you ask them, what is your biggest struggle right now? I can guarantee you, what's on their mind is not, how can I crush the man entrepreneurs? Well, maybe a couple. But instead, they tell you, how can I grow as an individual? How can I add another zero to my revenue? How can I make this life margin work for my loved ones? Hanzade defied incredible odds. You go do the same, and that's my 10 cents.